Well, happy 2026. I have seven psychics, prophets, predictions I'm going to share with you. I'm going to put them up against each other. They pertain to this time that we're going into. It's go time now. And then I'm going to share with you what Edgar Cayce and Dolores Cannon said about all of this that nobody's really talking about. So let's get busy. Let's see what these all look like up against each other and what we can expect going into 2026. And of course, I think it's going to be a roller coaster, but it's going to be amazing and it's going to blow your mind. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. If you're one of my members in my private club, you're seeing this before anybody else. I hope you guys will join because we're having great conversations in there. And I also hope you'll subscribe because you got to let YouTube know if you like this kind of stuff, because we're going to talk more and more about our future. And I'm going to reference a lot of things that we've heard of for decades, centuries, and I'm going to tell you how they translate into today. So let's get started. Baba Vanga, Edgar Cayce, Nostradamus. I'm going to go through the whole list because I spent some time asking AI to go in and get some real facts about these predictions, when they're supposed to happen. And we're talking about this period right now. You're going to love this because something profound has happened and it's going to blow up in the next few months. Things coming out, truths all over the planet that are going to change life as we know it. And this is happening right now. Let's talk about Baba Vanga first. She talked about alien contact in November of 2026. I'm not sure she gave exact dates, but we're looking at November 2026 through the eyes of a lot of predictions and prophets, people that said that this is going to happen right here this year coming up. She says that a large spacecraft is approaching Earth. Some of you might say that's Atlas I-1, whatever it is, that's actually acting quite peculiar, but that baby's still moving past us. It's not making a pit stop here. I think it's going to be something else. She predicted massive earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, global economic collapse. Our system doesn't work. People are struggling. Not a shocker. AI dominance and escalation toward World War III beginning in the East. Now, here's what I want you to know. I don't want you to take this and start to think, oh, God, here we go. Because what I'm about to tell you is actually very positive. So Athos Salome, the living Nostradamus, I'm not really a big fan. He says he's the living Nostradamus. When somebody names themselves something like that, I'm very skeptical. But his 2026 specific predictions are solar storm in March of 2026, 12th through 15th, conflict in the Arctic Circle, H5N5 bird flu becoming the next pandemic threat. And we already go through that. Cyber warfare escalation, Israel, Iran, US, North Korea using AI weapon in conflicts. He's war focused, technology threatened. Have you heard of Craig Hamilton Parker? I asked A about this and they said basically he has no credibility. Just because somebody has a couple hits doesn't mean that they now have the answers to our future. But let's talk about what he says. He claims to be the UK's psychic medium, new Nostradamus. Everybody loves Nostradamus. He says King Charles is going to die in February of 2026 and William becomes King William V. William will remove titles from Harry and Meghan. There'll be a revolution in Iran and a CCP fragmentation in China, beginning of the end for Communist Party. The UK government, chaos in a market crash. That might not be so surprising. Russia-Ukraine war ends with land corridor to Crimea. Syria's Venetian project, surprising rebirth. Syria, okay? The U.S.-Cuba confrontation returns. Actually, that one's starting to look a little bit real. So the tone is geopolitical upheaval and royal drama. Let's talk about Judy Heavenly. I've never heard of her. She's an LA psychic, celebrity clientele she has. Her 2026 predictions paint a very different picture. She said, Trump will redefine America's identity and strengthen ties globally. She says investments flow into the United States. The country thrives economically. Isn't that very different from the last two predictions I just said? 2026 Special Olympics, USA Games in Minnesota will be a huge success. The FIFA I'm probably mispronouncing that. World Cup, jointly hosted by US, Canada, and Mexico, draws massive crowds. Portugal, Spain, or Argentina wins the World Cup. Social and political shifts, but with focus on sustainability and morality. This is optimistic, successful, sports focused. Rudy Baldwin, Filipino psychic. Never heard of him myself, but supposedly he's got a track record. His 2026 predictions are dramatically different. He says Philippines faces the big one, a massive earthquake. 3 pandemics occur in 2026, lockdowns in Asia. The monkeypox returns. Well, when was it ever here? 6 volcanoes erupt in the Philippines. A major storm similar to Typhoon Yolanda's devastation. Martial law declared in Philippines. Airplane crashes into water with only 2 to 3 survivors. Bus terminals burned down. What does that mean? 1 vlogger shot during social media broadcast. Massive fires in specific Philippine cities. Of course, he's in Philippines, so he's going to talk about that. His tone is hyper-specific disasters, Philippines-focused doom. That didn't sound real good, right? Now let's talk about Nostradamus interpreters. The real Nostradamus. So there were interpretations for things that I believe have actually happened. He said, a great man struck down by thunderbolt. Well, that's being interpreted as death, sudden death of a major global figure. I think it could have been that assassination attempt on Trump and not necessarily a death. Great swarm of bees, interpreted as drone warfare or a political power movement. He said swarm of bees, so I'm thinking drones. I think we saw that, right? Happen already. West loses brightness in silence. 3 fires rise in the east. A power shift. Solar storm in March. Some interpreters. NATO-Russia confrontation in the Arctic. Others have said this, but they could be getting it from Nostradamus. But also, a man of light emerges, bringing renewal and spiritual awakening. Sort of sounds like the second coming of Christ, right? So his tone is cryptic, doom, and hope. Of all of these things are going on, according to one psychic, they can't be going on the same way with another psychic, like financial collapse. And then Judy's saying that U.S. is flourishing. The contradictions to what I just said are Baba Vanga, global economic collapse. Judy Heavenly, America thrives economically. On Trump, one psychic I found, Trump's downfall, approval ratings plummet. Actually, that is happening right now. Judy Heavenly says, Trump redefines America, strengthens global ties. Which one is it? Okay, on global conflict, Athos Salome, multiple wars escalating. Craig Hamilton Parker, Russia-Ukraine war ends. Rudy Baldwin, 3 pandemics in 2026. Other psychics don't mention pandemics at all. Well, if we had a pandemic, especially 3 of them, our whole life would change, as we know during the last one. We're not running around out and about. It would change totally how we function. So on major events, Baba Vanga, alien contact, November 2026. Nobody else is mentioning aliens. Here's what nobody's asking. If these psychics can see the future, why don't their visions match? We're looking at the same year, 2026. These events are supposed to be happening now. They're accessing the same future. So why are the predictions so wildly different? Is someone right and everyone else is wrong? You're going to love what I'm going to tell you right now, because this is exactly how we're shifting in this new earth, and we're behaving and treating this unknown conscious field that we're all a part of, and realize we are all connected. The truth about predictions nobody's talking about. Here's what I discovered. They don't match because the future isn't fixed. I keep telling you this. I think most of you don't want to believe it because it's so much easier to go see some headline on YouTube and go, oh, that's what's going to happen, and sit back and freak out over something. But the truth is, you have so much power over this. I just said on Twitter yesterday, if our maker took a handful of humans, said, I'm going to gift you a planet that is perfect. It has everything you could ever need on it. And you're going to have to go there as individuals, because we all come as one beautiful light. You're going to operate as individuals. That means you're going to have to be a community and take advantage of this beautiful planet and become one with it. Do you think if our maker, source, comes back and looks at us, that he'd be proud of what we did? We are totally messing this up, but we're turning it around. Why? Because we're not going to listen to this gloom and doom stuff that people are telling us and saying, oh, that's how it is. And then saying, no, Baba Vanga's right. No, whoever, Judy Heavenly, whatever her name is right. Because it's a positive one. It's not what they're saying. It's what we're saying. So let's talk about Edgar Cayce. And this to me is the most important because I think Edgar Cayce and Dolores Cannon are my favorites because I think they've been the most consistent. Edgar Cayce, of course, he gave over 14,000 documented readings. He healed a lot of people, and he was constantly asked about the future events. And here's what most people don't know. Here's reading 3976. 24, June of 1940, when asked if certain predicted events were set in stone. And by the way, he was reading the Akashic records, okay? He wasn't channeling a person, and who knows what that is. I know Bashar does this, and I think his ego's talking more than some aliens in space hovering. And why are they telling us the future anyways? They're not supposed to interfere. But Cayce said this very important thing. There is no time, no space, no beginning, no ending. There are only probabilities and possibilities. What manifests depends upon the choices and consciousness of those involved. All right? The choices and consciousness. Your choice in the penthouse is going to be very different than somebody's choice in the basement because they're in fear and they're in protective mode. So those of you who are afraid of the future, you're still in ego. You're still fearing for your personal self as a human being and not recognizing we are one consciousness. There is no ending, there is no beginning, there's no time or space. So if you're in fear, you're still believing that you are a person that has an ending and that anything that happens could possibly be bad. Everything has divine purpose. And as we create it, we want to create it from a high frequency because the results are going to be outstanding. And that's where we're headed right now. But I'm counting on you. You have to stay in that high frequency when you're making your decisions and choices. And the results will be absolutely mind-blowing. You'll have opportunities and phone calls and relationships and health and all kinds of things that show up that you never imagined. You're going to become a completely different person, but you have to take that action. So let's give another reading. 416-7, September of 1933. The future is not fixed. Each soul in choosing determines not only their own future, but contributes to the collective future of humanity. So I can have an amazing life, right? But depending on what's amazing, like if it's just me getting a lot of stuff, I'm contributing that service to self out into the collective. Now, if I am abundant and I'm giving, I love to give. I have all kinds of, there's gifts under my trees. I give everybody gifts, right? I love to give. And I do it from my heart. And I know that I will be absolutely abundant myself, but I don't do it for that. Your intentions are very important. If you come from a place of penthouse choices, then the results are going to be outstanding. That goes into the collective. So everybody benefits from that. They're going to feel it different. The whole planet, the Schumann resonance is going to raise, that frequency is going to raise. And as Tesla said, if you see everything as a vibration and a frequency, you now understand quantum physics. Now you understand everything because everything's a vibration and a frequency, okay? Even a rock has a consciousness. Not like a human being. It has an energy field that comes off of it. We have to respect everything. I told you, what's the secret? Edgar Cayce gave it. Service to others, because when you do that, you serve the one, which is the health and safety and abundance and joy of all. And when you serve that, everyone benefits, you benefit. It accelerates. And this is why we have to go into service to others. Not as a sacrifice, I'm going to give everything. That's still ego. So let's talk about what Dolores Cannon's subject said after multiple timelines. This is where it gets really interesting. So in her quantum healing hypnosis technique sessions, she, of course, hypnotized people. They went into past lives, some of them off planet. I'm a QHHT hypnotist. Some of my clients were on other planets. And, I mean, they were telling me what they looked like. It was really out there. It was crazy stuff. But Dolores had these multiple beings, sort of a collective, that would speak to her and dictated her books. She was not channeling. She doesn't even like channeling, but this message was coming through these people who were hypnotized. It was amazing. So let's talk about this. Is from the Three Waves of Volunteers and the New Earth. Outstanding book. I'll try and pop it in here so you can see it. There isn't one future. There are infinite possible futures. The psychics and prophets are each tuning into different probability lines, different potential timelines. All right? Those who are legit, and I think most of them aren't. I think they're just abusing the system and making money off of vulnerable people, trying to tell them that they have some kind of answer. I'm telling you, you have the answer, okay? So we're going to go into a world where we realize if you tune into anything, it's just one probability. But if you tune into something and you create, you'll experience that. You'll create it. So it's not like, well, I'm just going to look at all these probabilities. It's like, no, which one do you want to create? So if you're worrying all day, you're creating it. Why would you think it, right? This is what Bob Proctor said. You're creating with every thought. So if you're having a negative thought, why would you think that if you don't want it? You better get out of that real quick. See my 3 seconds to manifest anything video? Go watch it. You can shift your thinking in 3 seconds. And this is what Cayce and Dolores Cannon are telling us. Another subject explained through Dolores Cannon. When someone makes a prediction, they're seeing the timeline that humanity is currently heading toward based on the collective consciousness at that moment. All right. So it could be the timeline that we are choosing at the moment, not just unlimited choices. They're seeing what direction we're going in. This is why these predictions can be warnings, not in stone. But if enough people shift their consciousness, the timeline changes. We're going to do it now, peeps. This is what I'm talking to you for. Because if you get on board with me, we're going to change that prediction of all these things, these horrible things that most of them say. Have you ever noticed they're gloom and doom? They're warnings. We can change it. That includes catastrophes on the planet because we are one, and Mother Earth is absorbing all of this negativity, the pollution, the stuff we're pumping into our waterways, the plastic you're using. We wonder why children have cancer. Guess what? We've been poisoning our bodies for centuries, especially the last few decades. We have to end that. We're going to shift into a world that is respectful, and you're going to see those things that were predicted about water and other things. And some of this will happen just because, we evolve, we all get older and move on. But you're going to see these things backing off because we're going to go into a more caring, loving, nurturing space where we love our planet, we respect other people, we love them, we have compassion, don't have to agree with them. This is the oneness that I speak of. This will change our planet. And we're going into the golden era. We're setting ourselves up for it. But before that happens, we have to dissolve this. We have to stop using the garbage. We have to stop putting negativity into our bodies through our food. We have to stop abusing the animals. This all counts. Everything you do. You have to be conscious of every purchase you make. I have an Amazon store. Somebody says, oh, she's selling her stuff. Yes. I'm choosing products that I love, that are healthy, non-toxic. Go start making those choices and support the businesses that care about the planet. And those who don't will dissolve because nobody's buying their garbage. That's how powerful we are. We do have control over that, all right? If you don't participate, they don't have clients. So one subject said, that's why predictions often don't come true. Not because the psychic was necessarily wrong, but because humanity chose a different path. The act of hearing the prediction sometimes causes people to shift their behavior, which changes the outcome. So you might hear, be careful with predictions. You might go, oh, I got to hear about this disaster prediction. You've already, the negative side of things, you hear it, you envision it, You feel it, you're now creating it. So now you got entangled with a prediction that they'll say, see, it came true. Yeah, we actually helped make it come true. We can do the opposite and say, that's not going to happen. And I don't believe it is going to happen. I think we're going to see a series of things, and I think it's all the transition into the new earth that is going to absolutely amaze you. We're going to go into psychic abilities, intuition. We're going to meditate, breathing, all these things that we're going to connect to because the mind and the body are two different things functioning together, but it is the mind that is forever. The body dissolves, its energy, it goes back in and off to something else. So why the predictions are all different? Now it makes sense, doesn't it? If a prophet or psychic's ego is involved, and we had a demonstration of it with Bashar, you could hear his ego coming in. First of all, he claims to be channeling or, channeling this alien that's hovering over the planet that is his future self. I think it's insane, but that's just my opinion. It could be totally true, but the truth is that why is one alien, having these conversations and telling us what our future is? That's not his job. In fact, that is a violation of free will. But he said, if the male comes into office, then we will have basically World War III. I think that was him, a producer in Los Angeles, trying to tell people to vote for Harris. All right? That's an ego-driven prediction that is just wrong. All right? There's no right, no wrong. But he is violating our trust and taking advantage of people who believe this stuff. So you've got to be careful because these people, they're still humans. And they're speaking from their ego and they know exactly what they're saying. Somebody says they're, channeling Jesus or Archangel Michael. Beware. And by the way, Archangel Michael's saying something different than over here. I don't believe it. I believe these people believe that they're channeling, and I do believe in predictions. I believe people like Edgar Cayce got out of the way. Because you got to remember, Edgar Cayce was a religious man. He didn't believe in reincarnation, yet he was sharing information about reincarnation through his messages. So he was stepping aside. You can change anything that any of these people tell us. And that is the big secret that nobody's talking about. Nothing is in stone, okay? So Baba Vanga, she's a fear-based timeline, big time. I think warnings, right? Sure to, kick in the butt. Judy Heavenly, an optimistic timeline. Maybe she wants us to envision that and create it with her. Craig Hamilton Parker sees a geopolitical upheaval timeline. Rudy Baldwin sees a disaster-heavy timeline, and he was focused very much on the Philippines. And they're not all wrong. They're seeing different possible futures. And some of them are full of crap, too. Let's just be really honest. So be careful with what you're placing your attention on, and I'm going to ask you, what do you want to create? Which timeline manifests depends on collective consciousness, not just one person. You're going to do it for your own life, right? It will happen completely for you because you're functioning as a seemingly individual. And that individual choice does affect the consciousness, but the collective consciousness has to participate. And we will have this split. The individual experiences over here, and these individual experiences, these people are going to say, nothing happened. I've been waiting for years for something to happen. Nothing's happened. It's already happening. I'm experiencing it. We're seeing other people experience it. Just unbelievable psychic abilities, being able to read each other's minds, manifesting things without the I have to have an ego control, but just doing it. And if you're in my membership, we're going to talk more about how you can do that. So if you guys are interested, come on in, click for my membership. So let's talk about the quantum physics connection. This isn't spiritual woo-woo. Quantum physics supports this, okay? The observer effect in quantum mechanics shows that observation affects the outcome. Everything is a wave, a probability. As soon as you focus on it, it becomes a particle. That particle and what it becomes, or the result, has to do with your beliefs and thoughts. This is real stuff. This is scientific. The many worlds interpretation suggests multiple realities exist simultaneously. It's all out there. Don't try and wrap your head around it. It just all exists, as does every other creation is here. We are just so dense we can't see it. Well, some of you can see these things, and more of us will. It's nothing to fear. So, what physicists are discovering, reality is more fluid than we thought. Consciousness plays a role in what manifests. Consciousness is the key. Spiritual teachers have been saying this for millennia. You create your reality. Where attention goes, energy flows. What you focus on expands. It's going to be just everyday knowledge. This is. The predictions are showing us possible futures, but we determine which one becomes real. So here's what none of the predictors are telling you. A massive consciousness shift is changing which timeline we're heading toward. We have mass spiritual seeking. Look around, more people than ever. They're meditating. People that would never talk about this all of a sudden are exploring it. They know it's real. They're attending sound healings, spiritual gatherings, leaving organized religion. More people are, these are statistics, but seeking spirituality, questioning materialism, and realizing it doesn't make us happy. Let's let it collapse. We'll have exactly what we need. We will lack for nothing. Everyone will be abundant if we allow that to happen. All right. So don't be hoarding anything. People are prioritizing inner peace over external success. Some of you have told me you quit your jobs, you're making less money, you've never been happier. And by the way, you're probably not lacking anything, right? Articles in 2025 noted spiritual events are replacing nightclubs among Gen Z and millennials. Isn't that cool? This is huge. This is consciousness shifting away from fear and materialism. Community formation over political division. People are quietly disengaging from political tribalism and building local communities. Community gardens, local barter systems, I love that, and time banks, skill shares where people teach each other, neighborhood mutual aid networks, homeschool co-ops, we have them all here in Florida. Clothing swaps is going on all the time. My Chic Sustainability channel, I'm going to spend a lot of attention on that this year. I'm going to show you how to have a chic, beautiful life and space without spending a lot of money and honoring our planet and your body. This is New Earth being built while the world argues. You're going to see them arguing more because they're going to fight to hang on to this material world that's crumbling around them that we're not supporting anymore. We don't care about it, right? Digital detox and nature return. Go for a walk the first thing in the morning. I want you to do this first thing in the morning, even if it's cloudy. Go outside. I do first thing. And I sit and stare at the sun. You can do that in the morning when it's barely coming up. And at night, I do that. People would call it woo-woo. Now it's like, wait a minute, we're setting our circadian rhythm. And actually that red light versus artificial light, I go out periodically during the day. I take a walk, get that vitamin D, start to commune with nature. Walk, we talk about earthing, walk in the grass. We have grass here during the winter time. And just really get out there. Don't expect anything from it. Listen to the nature. People are deleting social media. They're turning off news cycles. I don't watch it. Weekend nature immersions are becoming the norm. Dopamine fasting. I do fast on occasion. People are choosing silence so they can hear their inner guidance. When you're going for your walk, say one word, listen. And listen to the beautiful sounds, the birds and the wind and everything. Sound woo-woo? A few years ago, we'd say, oh, you're a tree hugger. Now we're saying, this is real stuff. This is science. Instead of, I'm a Democrat or Republican, people are asking, what are my values? What do I stand for? How do I want to live? You can do this. This could be the year that turns everything around for you. It could blow your mind, and you're going to say, this isn't coincidence. I'm doing this. This is the great turning inward, and the predictors aren't seeing it because they're focused on external events. They're still looking at the material world that we created that has been very negative, and those are probabilities. So what did Cayce and Cannon say about this shift? Edgar Cayce, reading 5748-6, July of 1932, there comes a time when souls choosing the higher path will tip the scales for all of humanity. I am so excited about this. When enough individuals hold the frequency of love, peace, and unity, the collective reality must shift to match. It must. It's just an automatic thing that happens. You're in the penthouse. That's what happens in the penthouse. Dolores Cannon subjects in multiple sessions. The split isn't geographic. Those of you think, my kids are going to disappear. First of all, kids are perfect. So they're probably much more high frequency than we are, even though they don't act like it sometimes. This is going to be a frequency and experience. It's not geographic, it's consciousness based. And by 2026, there'll be enough people. This is happening right now. There'll be enough people holding new earth frequency that multiple timelines become visible. You're going to see it. You're going to see the difference. You're going to see people acting a certain way and you go, oh my God, they're still living in that. And you're going to feel completely different. I already shifted. Something happened a few days ago and I went, wow, I feel it. Do you? People will literally experience different realities based on their consciousness. I feel like I'm heading down a different direction now and it's more powerful. I'm not focused on business. I'm focused on results. What am I contributing? So you can go out, earn money. You can have a business. You can have a great career. You can do extremely well. Am I doing something that's benefiting humanity? Maybe there's another opportunity for me. Maybe I can teach other people how to do things differently. You can do this. Those in love will see opportunity, community, transformation. Those in fear will see collapse, chaos, war. So those of you say, oh no, this bad stuff's happening, I'll say, yeah, for some people it will. For others, it'll be minimized and we will start to create something that is beautiful. The tipping point is here. If you guys have read my book, there's a whole chapter on the tipping point, and I said we've already gone past it. So get ready. This isn't a future thing we're talking about. We're now in 2026. Researchers studying collective consciousness suggest the tipping point is around 10 to 15% of population. It doesn't have to be a majority. When 10 to 15% of humanity holds a new consciousness, it creates a morphic field that makes it easier for everyone else to access that consciousness. So we affect those. They can step into it easier. The veils are coming down. So now all of a sudden, it's easier to get on that elevator and go up. We paved the way for them. That's how you affect them, not by telling them what they need to do and meditate and I want you to come. It's their path. Let it go. So every single day you are choosing which 2026 timeline you experience through where you place your attention, what frequency you embody, which actions you take. So the old thinking is law of attraction. My vision boards, I'm going to do this. That's actually very ego based. It's like, what do I get? What can I receive? Now it's like, where am I placing my attention? I'm a part of this one beautiful world and we're all in it together. We're one family. Will our maker be proud of us after gifting us this beautiful, perfect planet that provides everything we've ever wanted? We must make the effort. And it's every day in your life. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to give up some stuff. I promise you what you replace it with will blow your mind. What frequency do you embody? It's about frequency, okay? You breathe into your heart. Feel gratitude. Visualize the 2026 you want to experience. It's not woo-woo. This is quantum physics timeline selection. And now we realize this is real stuff. The next practice, community action over consumption. Plant a garden. Organize a skill share, start a neighborhood time bank, form a mutual aid circle. I'm going to be doing some very cool things this year. I can't wait to announce it to you. Hold multiple truths. There is no one truth. Is it possible that somebody believes there's aliens and they might be and you don't? Yes. You don't have to be right. Keep your open mind because guess what? Source doesn't have limits, so everything is true. So the real prediction, multiple predictions will partially come true because multiple timelines are manifesting simultaneously. Some will experience economic hardship, others will thrive financially. Some will experience fear and chaos, some will experience peace and community. Same planet, same year, different timelines, and you right now, in this moment, you're choosing what you experience. Why I created this video? I didn't create it to tell you which prediction is going to be right. I made it to show you that the future isn't fixed. You're creating it, and that's the most empowering truth of all. And Edgar Cayce and Dolores Cannon both confirmed that. But the consciousness shift happening right now is tilting us toward a completely different timeline than the doom predictors saw. That's the good news. Communities are going to thrive. People are going to feel empowered instead of victimized. They're going to forgive. Spiritual connection is going to replace material obsession. We solve problems instead of waiting for leaders to fix them. This is when we stop looking to them, the predictions, the governments, the corporations, and then we complain. it's dissolving, it's going away. We're saying we're still the choice makers. The predictions don't match because the future is fluid. And your consciousness, your choices, your frequency matter more than any prediction. Be careful with what you're watching. So let's create that new earth together, not by waiting for it, but by being it. Your choosing. So I'm creating a community. If you're interested, I have members starting to come on board. One's called Ascending, the other one's called Penthouse. You get all of my videos before anybody else. I go in there and talk to you. You can ask me questions. I'm going to do some live streaming if YouTube sorts out their issues. And we're going to have our own community in there where you can talk about anything and not be judged. All right. Also, my Amazon store, yes, sorry, it's Amazon, but that allows us to reach millions of people. And I have all kinds of great stuff in there from water filters to shampoos that are all natural. Nothing comes in plastic. Go in and explore it. Cleaners that don't come in any kind of plastic that are non-toxic. What are you putting on your surfaces? Don't be poisoning yourself and start to make the higher choices. Those companies will flourish, and the other ones are either going to have to make a change or go out of business. And again, this isn't to harm anybody. It's to say we have a choice. You can live in that high frequency world, or you can stay over here and scratch and claw for whatever you can get. So let's get started, my friend, because you are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Please subscribe, click that bell so you can hear what's coming next, because I'm going to talk about what's actually happening now in the world, the really amazing things that I want you to know, because we don't hear much about that. I'm going to share as much of that as possible. I'm going to be doing a lot of research. Yes, me and AI are going to work together to get some facts to find out what's going on in this world, all the good stuff. And you and I are going to create it. I'll see you there. Namaste. And Happy New Year.